Oh, and we're waiting for Mary to connect. So we lost Mary at that point. Hello, everybody. Oh, she's back.
I'm back. I'm here.
So hello, everybody, for our weekly Wednesday live. And today I have the wonderful Burwash Potter, Mary Clarke, with me as my guest. And I'm very excited because Mary taught me how to do pottery, and she taught my little boy Charlie how to do pottery. And we absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. It is like a meditation. We've all just been watching Nadine's daily meditation. And for me, doing pottery is like a meditation, really. I can really come out of my head and just make stuff. And I made some nonsense, didn't I?
Oh, yes.
I made some proper nonsense.
That's the only answer that one needs. Some fabulous nonsense.
I made some fabulous, because I didn't even think about it. I didn't prepare. I just listened to what Mary said. I made a robin one day. I made a woman with crazy hair.
I was going to say that was my favourite.
Yeah, the crazy haired lady. And it was a real meditation for me. And I think sometimes when I was in the studio with you, you'd say to me, "Are you okay?" Wouldn't you? Are you okay?
Gone quiet.
And I'm not a quiet person, as everyone knows.
I'm saying nothing at that point.
I'm not shy and retiring. Not words that people would use to describe me, shy and retiring. So no, I found it really. I was at a time when I was really overwhelmed. Hi, Nick. Hi, everyone who's here already. And we'll gradually gather pace, I know, as we start. And I'll keep in touch with everyone on Facebook as well as we chat along. I was having, it was a really busy time for me. It was about 3 years ago, wasn't it, when I was doing the lessons with you?
It was. You were one of my first people that came along, because that's when I started.
Yeah. And I came along with my lovely friend Mary, my other friend Mary, two of my lovely friends, Mary. And I also came along with my other friend Amanda, and we gathered people as we kind of went along, didn't we? Claire, Nicola, and I just found it was a point in my week that I really look forward to, that I was going to have a Tuesday afternoons. I was going to be off, just getting my head together. And I miss it. I need to come back to it. And I think I was just about to come back to it, wasn't I, when lockdown happened?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the reason I asked Mary to come on as my guest is because, for two reasons. One is she has an absolutely fascinating story, because she hasn't been an artist, working artist, a practicing artist, for that long, about 3 to 4 years.
3 years.
Yeah. And so it shows that you can come to being an artist. There's never a right or a wrong time. It just, do it when it's right for you. It's never too late. Because some people say to me, "Oh, it's too late for me now."
No, never too late.
Never too late. You don't need anything to get started. You literally had a shed.
I did.
And we set you up in the gallery, didn't we? And did some stuff in the gallery a few times as well. And that's hilarious. We'll talk about that as we go along. And also, it's a great one for helping you with your mindset art. And that was absolutely proved in your personal story. So if I can just pass over to you, and you set the scene for us. Tell us your background, where you came from, and what was the trigger? What saw you move into becoming a full-time working artist, which is what you are now?
Okay. Well, I'll start off. When I was a kid, I always liked making things. I see myself as someone that's very practical. I'm a maker. Because just by nature of my upbringing, I had very intellectual parents that saw me through education, that went on to college and things. And so I ended up in an office job. I'm actually brought up in Battle, so I'm very local.
That's lovely, because I'm in Battle right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So am I in my heart a lot of the time. But anyway, so born and brought up in Battle, went to college. And so I ended up in an office job. And my background is local government. I've worked for Westminster City Council. I've worked for Hastings Borough Council, East Sussex County Council, all within the political arm. And then finally, I ended up working for the Police and Crime Commissioner, supporting the sort of the political side of the police. During that time, I ended up having breast cancer, and that was it was exactly 10 years ago. And so I gave up work for a year while I had all my treatment, and then had a year off, and then went back to work for the Police and Crime Commissioner. And it just gave me a kick up the backside because I had quite a senior job, and just kind of thought about whether that was what I wanted to do. And I'd been doing evening classes and pottery for a little while I was living up in London and working up there. And once I moved back down to Burwash, which was 22 years ago, I didn't actually find any evening classes that suited my commute to London or my working hours. And so I gave up and just did some stuff on my own. I did some stuff in the kitchen. I had a wheel, which I put in the greenhouse, which meant the clay dried out. So it was all a bit hit and miss. But I still carried on doing things. I joined the chalk gallery, which was a fantastic thing for me to do. If any chalkies out there, then thank you to them, because that really did get me kick-started to taking my art a lot more seriously. And then 3 years ago, I decided to give up work and to teach. And the teaching was always a plan B, because I knew I couldn't make enough of a living just by making my own stuff. And I was quite realistic about that. So it wasn't a sort of, I was trying, I felt it was, I gave it a lot of thought. And I thought, what can I do to supplement my income? And as it turns out, I absolutely love the teaching. And, my background, although it was in local government, was very much around training and HR. And so I'm used to teaching and training people in the business environment, but not in a pottery. And it was quite a revelation that I enjoyed it so much. And I started off having about 6 people, then 10 people a week. And up until lockdown, I had 52 people a week coming through my studio. 52 people a week, yeah.
So I remember when I first started with you 3 years ago. And as you say, I mean, it's interesting. You say, I knew I couldn't make a living just selling my pottery. Now, we all have these thoughts in our heads, and they're not facts. They're our own personal thoughts based on our own personal experience. And I think in the early days, when you're setting out as a creative, it is hard to foresee how you can make a living just making art. And so in those early days, you do need to find a route that can supplement your income. But I have many artists now who work full-time as creatives and as artists, and make a full-time living out of making their art.
I think I should qualify that, actually, because I could have done, had I gone down that route, but I'm not a great lover of selling my own stuff, and I didn't want to go out and do all the art fairs and get money. I actually really just like making stuff.
Yes, I think,
and I've got my drive isn't to make a living out of it. So maybe that's what. So rather than thought I didn't want to make a living out of just making my stuff, because that would have put me in a different position.
Yes, because you have to approach it differently. If you want to be a full-time working artist, it is not just spending time making art; it's spending time selling your art as well. And as you say, there is a process, there is a journey that you go on. And the journey that you chose, and I ask this question a lot when I'm working with creators, is, what do you want to be? What is it that makes your heart sing?
Yeah.
And because that's the thing that you should pursue, what makes your heart sing. And as you say, once you started teaching, and I remember those first lessons we did in the Wing Art Gallery, and everyone needs galleries to help them get going. So that's why it's really important that we support our galleries, whether they're cooperatives like the Chalk Gallery and Art Spring, or whether they're, regular mainstream galleries like Wing, like West End House, etc., that sell the artwork for you. They take you to the art fairs and they do all that work for you, whereas the cooperatives, you still have to do that yourself. It is still important to listen to yourself and say, what is it I want? And as I say, I remember we were talking about this earlier, the first time we did a workshop in Wing Gallery, and I got some trestle tables. I think Gavin got me some trestle tables.
Yeah, let's blame Gavin, just in case he listens to this at some point.
Gavin's fault. And,
Gavin, it was you.
And I think, did Nicola Daltrey, I think, came to one of those early days, and that's how she came to you, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. She still comes.
Yeah, and we set up all the tables and we put paper on the floor to make sure we didn't ruin the floor. We had all the chairs and everything. And then right in the middle of it, one of the tables collapsed.
All the pottery rolls on
the floor. And I remember feeling a bit like the early days of doing these broadcasts. This is a bit of a train crash. But you learn.
It all survived. We never used those trestle tables again, though.
We never used those trestle tables again, did we? We worked out that we hadn't locked them. it shows, doesn't it, the journey. The journey from the trestle tables that collapsed in the gallery was like the first point of doing anything, to now 52 students.
52 students. And of those, I always get a few new people each term, but of those, probably over 40 are people that keep coming back, and it's just lovely. I love it.
So you said as well about your experience with chalk gallery, and this is one of the, like, children have their rites of passage, don't they? They have their rites of passage in GCSEs or A-levels, and I know a lot of them have struggled with that this year because of lockdown, and we're really feeling for them that they've missed their rites of passage. But artists have rites of passage as well within their journey to become a professional working artist, and one of them is to be accepted and get into a cooperative gallery where they contribute and they help. So how did you find, you come from the police service and local government, how did you find chalk? How did you know it was there? And how did
because I worked in Lewis, and I used to go up there and buy stuff from there. But
and did you ask them, how does this work?
I did, and I can't remember who was in there at the time. It might have been Veronica, but anyway, whoever was in there just explained it all to me. And at the time, because I was just doing my pottery part time, I just thought, the classic thing, I'm not good enough for this. And anyway, but I did sort of take the plunge. They taught me into it, and it was the best thing I could have done, because they just really helped my confidence, because I sold stuff there, which obviously is a really good thing. But they just sort of, people were so enthusiastic, and I just learned so much about how to sell stuff, how galleries work. It just it adds an element of realism to the whole business, and it changed it from a hobby to a business. Even though I was there one day every 3 weeks, but it was absolutely invaluable.
With a cooperative gallery, so for anyone who's watching who doesn't know, then you become a member or a partner or whatever. There's a terminology for each different one, and then you contribute. So you do a day working in the gallery, and or sometimes people help with the admin, or they help with the marketing. So you get to know. It's a really good route when an artist is just setting out, because you get an immediate tribe, a network of people who are all on the same journey. You get to learn stuff from the inside how galleries work. So you get a new perspective on how it all works, and see where you might fit into that. So starting to work out how it might work with you, and how it feels for you, gives you the opportunity to sell. And it also helps you get out of your own way. So it stops you with that thought process of, I'm not good enough. Yes. So it's a really safe way to help you deal with that demon, that particular demon that we all have, is, I'm not good enough for this. I couldn't possibly be. Why would people want to buy my work? There's people much better than me. Well, actually, the beauty and the value is in the eye of the beholder, and we all have our own perspectives. So we're all looking for something different. And that is a great route, is to get yourself into one of these cooperatives in the early days.
Oh, I would absolutely recommend that. And it's not just about sort of putting yourself in that sort of headspace to do it, but actually, because you're putting your stuff in a gallery, for me, the quality of my work increased or improved so much. Yes. Because I had, all of a sudden they were in a gallery. They weren't just sort of selling to friends, or, or in a little craft fair or something. It became serious.
Yeah. So you rose, you grew.
Yeah, absolutely.
You grew as a part of that process as well.
Very much so.
And that can be a little bit painful and uncomfortable as we go through that, which I've, experienced doing these live broadcasts. It's like in the early days, I can't believe now I've been doing this for like 9 weeks. But in the first few, it was painful and uncomfortable. But now I actually really look forward to it. And I've been booking guests right through to the beginning of July. So we've got some really, interesting guests, keeping everybody, looking at artists and looking at art fairs and looking at marketing, etc. And you grow, and you think, whereas I was just thinking, I'll just speak to my friends. Keep it safe. Now I'm stretching myself and inviting guests on who I have no relationship with. So, these processes are absolutely critical for us growing our potential. So you grew your potential from, working in the police service and government, and having that, you had this life-changing experience with the cancer.
Yes, and that really was. It was. I mean, I was lucky that I'm 10 years down the line and I'm now fine. But it just makes you think quite hard about what you're doing. You know, I was working long hours, and my husband was working long hours. He was working up in London still. He still is, but it's it just made us think about what we wanted and why we were doing what we were doing. And so, although I went back to work part time after that, and I didn't go back to the same job. And actually, we started doing things that we really enjoy doing. We've always loved travelling, and we did a huge amount of travelling after that, because you just sort of, you take each day as it comes. And it was a quite a difficult time, but it was fine. I live in a village, and a huge amount of support and help, and we got through it. And as I say, I was one of the lucky ones. So then I started doing more pottery. Oh, not at the time, actually. At the time, I thought I've got all this time off work, I'll spend some time doing some pottery, and I did none, because I think you have to be in the right frame of mind to be creative, and I wasn't being. I had too many other things on my mind. But once I'd got over all of that, and I realised everything was okay at that point, then I started doing a lot more work, and I absolutely loved it. And I've just gone from strength to strength. That you were talking about, sort of having confidence to do things. It was the same to the teaching as well. When I started teaching, I thought, I've given up my job. I'm giving up everything to become a pottery teacher. I've never had, other than evening classes when I was in my 20s for a few terms, I have never had pottery lessons. I've never studied art. I've never studied ceramics. I thought, how on earth can I possibly teach this? But do you know what? You can, because it's amazing. I'm amazed how much I know. And I can constantly amaze myself how much I know, and I keep ahead of the game. So I started off when everybody was beginners, and now I've got people that are fantastic potters, and I just keep ahead of what they're doing, and we work together. So I don't.
So that's given the opportunity to grow yourself.
Absolutely, yeah, it's fantastic. And you never, because people work at all different paces. So I don't do a lesson plan. The very first term when I started, I gave up work at Christmas, and in the first week in January, I had started my first term, and it was all very exciting. And I did a whole 6 weeks lesson plan. Halfway through the first lesson, I tore it up, because actually,
I might have been in that lesson.
I think you may well have been.
Probably it contributed to the tearing.
Yeah. Well, what's really important about the sort of teaching that I do, I'm not teaching people to be qualified potters. I'm not teaching people to work towards MVQs or anything. I've got a lot of people that come here for exactly as you were saying earlier, about their well-being, and about relaxing, and about taking a couple of hours out of their week to actually just chill. And when you're making things with your hands, your worries disappear behind you somewhere, a bit like your meditation, and it's gone for a while. And people want to make different things. You want to make wacky women with weird hair. People want to make all different things. And what I'm there to do is to encourage people to stretch themselves, to use their creativity, and to make what they want. And for me to say we're going to make this, that, and the other is no good to anybody. That's not what people want. That's not what I want, as it turns out. It's it's a different way of teaching. So the lesson plans went out the window. So every lesson, I've got potentially 8 people all doing something different, all having fun, all relaxing. And the social side of it is fantastic as well.
Making crazy robins and
all sorts of things. You'd be amazed how much stuff comes out of this studio. It's just, where does this come from? All these people have all started doing pottery together, and they're all making such different things. It's just wonderful.
I think you said another myth, and I love this. You're breaking all the myths here, Mary, which is great. Another myth is I can't do that because I have no formal training. Yeah. And actually, it's about an attitude. If you have an attitude to grow and learn how to do it, you will be able to do it. And I, again, come across that a lot when I'm working with artists. They say, oh, well, I aspire to be this, but I can't do that because I didn't go to art school, or I didn't have a degree, or I don't have a master's, or I don't have a la, 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 la. And hopefully Mary will come back up again.
Yeah, sorry. a text just appeared on my screen. I couldn't see anything.
And people were like chatting to you while you were talking live. They didn't realise. So a lot of it is, I don't have this formal education, and absolutely, there's not the case. You can do whatever you set your mind to.
Absolutely.
It's all about our attitude.
Yeah.
And finding our purpose in life, the thing that makes our heart sing, will take you there. And Nadine has a wonderful saying, and that is focus on the wow, forget about the house. Just focus on wow. Focus on the thing that you're aspiring to and stop worrying about all this minor detail. Because you and I are both proof that if my background is in banking.
Yeah.
And yet here I am. And for 10 years, I've been running a creative business, supporting creatives in being successful at selling and being professional working artists. And I would like to say that most of those that have interacted with me have become and are happy with the point where they review and reflect along the way. And I think that's an essential part of the process. You can't just go, oh, I'm going to do that and then just carry on with it. You have to have points where you say, okay, and lockdown has been a really great opportunity for that. And as we're starting to ease out of lockdown, it's a great opportunity to reflect on what you've really enjoyed, what you've really not enjoyed about lockdown, what you have enjoyed about it, what's been brilliant. So how's your lockdown been, and how have you been reflecting on that?
Lockdown's been fine for me. I'm lucky that my husband works because, of course, my main income is all my teaching, and I had to close the studio down, which was very sad. But I'm just so lucky that I've got a studio to work in. I've still been picking up commissions, which has been lovely, and thank you to all those people that have provided me with a bit of work. But I've really enjoyed that. But I've actually taken the time out to experiment a bit, making different things. I've actually started making some functional wear, which I've really enjoyed doing. Also, my husband and I, plus some friends of ours, have set up a Burwash community interest company, which is we've basically fundraised to set up a cafe and tea shop in Burwash High Street. Wow. So although that can't open yet, we've been sort of raising money for that, and we've been got someone doing the building work. So we've been very preoccupied with that, and so we're busy people. We don't sit around and worry and mope. We're just busy doing things, and the tea shop's taken a lot of time. The only thing I do miss the lessons. In some ways it's nice to have the studio to myself, but I'm a very sociable person, so I've struggled with that a bit. But I love sharing my studio, and I'd say that to anybody that is thinking about teaching, if they're using their own space, you have to feel very comfortable with sharing your tools, your glazes, your glaze, your everything, because nothing becomes sacred and becomes yours. I do have some favourite tools. I do keep it in a separate cupboard, in fairness, just so that people know my very favourites. Yeah. But I love sharing my studio space. And I think if anyone's thinking about going down that route, you have to really give that some thought. Because I have spoken to a lot of people that said, oh, God, I couldn't do that. That's a sacred place for me and it belongs to nobody else. But, I love it. I love it when the doors open on a Monday morning and I have 8 people troop through the door and...
how do you balance that with making your own work? Have you set up a kind of, I know with my work I do Tuesdays and Thursdays are for one-to-ones and Wednesdays are for this kind of thing, and Mondays and Fridays are for my admin kind of work. I kind of set a structure to my week. How do you do that with running classes and workshops?
That's taken a bit of time to get that balance, actually, because I did have the lessons. I have to do 7 lessons a week, and I separate them all out across the week. I did separate them all out across the week, and I thought, well, that's good because that'll give me an afternoon here and a morning there, and bits and pieces. But actually, it doesn't work like that because I've got Steve indoors and other things to do, and so what I've done now, I've crammed all my lessons into 3 days. So I do Monday mornings, and I do Tuesday morning, afternoon, and evening, and Wednesday morning, afternoon, and evening. And although Tuesdays and Wednesdays are long days, actually, I'm in that frame of mind to do the lessons. I've got everything out, everything's working, and then on a Thursday morning, right the way through again to Monday morning, then that's my time to do what I want. And also, because if I'm spreading stuff around, if I'm making my own stuff, if I was having to do half an hour here and there, I had to keep putting stuff away. Whereas actually, I can get all my stuff out on Thursday, work on it, and then Sunday night it all goes away again, and it works fine. Yeah,
I found that I couldn't get into flow.
No, exactly. And especially with clay, when you have to do a bit and then leave it to dry out, come back to it, and it was forever moving around, and didn't like that. But no, it works fine now.
Can you do us a little kind of? I know you're on your iPhone. Can you do us a little kind of run around the studio and show us what you've been? You were talking about the plate, so that'd be really nice to have a look at the plate.
Well, this is the studio. I'll just zoom you around the studio
slowly.
So
slowly, because it has to.
I'm going really slowly.
Go slow. That's it, because it has to focus.
Oh, okay. So lots of shelving space, and lots of space for people's work.
Yeah.
There's some stuff here that I've been working on or
Loving that bowl with the bubbles. Oh, and look at,
where are you looking?
You're going to have to do a Ted. Let's bring Ted up. Come on, Teddy bear's asleep though, actually. Oh, look, have you got a Ted? Look, you need to do a Ted.
This one here, can you see this one? I can't see what you can see. That one
Yes,
here is that's just drying out now. That was wet clay. That's a Welsh Terrier.
Ted looks a bit like a Welsh Terrier.
In fact, they're both Welsh Terriers, actually.
He looks quite like that brown one.
Yeah.
Here he is.
This is a ram that lives up in Brightling somewhere, I think. This is my little pig here, if you can see this one.
Can't see that one. You have to. Oh, there we are. Oh, he looks amazing. You've got.
That's how they look at me.
Through that door, we know through that door over there is where the pigs live, isn't it?
Yeah, my little pub. I've got 2 pigs, Olive and Rosie, little pet pigs.
And when you come down the back, like little walkway into your studio,
I'll take you for a little walk round. These are the plates. Can you see the plates here?
Yes. Oh wow, gorgeous colours.
Yeah, love the colours.
Love it. Oh, look at that big one.
Yeah.
That big one.
So I've got serving dishes and I'm doing sets of littler plates. I've been making a lot of flowers. Can you see?
Yes. Yeah.
Because I sell a lot of those in the pub.
Very important place, the pub.
Okay, I'm just taking you for these 2 here.
Wow.
Oh yeah, this is a cockapoo. This is a cat, obviously. They're going to be raku fired.
Right, and your raku firing, you've now moved outside, haven't you?
Oh, we have to do it outside because it's all flame and fire. Yeah, that's out in the yard. So just coming round a little bit more. All these bags up here are the effects of lockdown up here because they're everybody's work. So when we locked down, I had to make sure that everything was sorted out because it was all on the shelves. And I thought, I'll never remember whose is whose.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's all bagged up, ready to be picked up when people can.
Yes,
so
absolutely. And then there's the hairdryer. Love the hairdryer.
The hairdryer.
The hairdryer when we were trying to dry things off.
These are a load of flowers I made yesterday. Can you see them?
Yes.
Yep. And I'm making now some hearts. Actually, these ones have got names on, but I'm selling these for £10 each. I've got some that say love and some that say hugs.
Oh, wonderful.
And I'm selling those for £10 each. And I'm a bit of a plug here because every single penny of that £10 is going to the Burwash Community Interest Company to help pay for the cafe.
Fabulous.
I'm just going to take you outside so you can just see the path.
Of links up afterwards so people can come on and buy the work.
That's the access to my pottery down the path.
Yes, it's wonderful. And the pigs are just over the...
Yeah, they're asleep asleep there somewhere.
Look at that amazing view as well across Burwash Weald.
Yeah, you can see, actually, further over, you can see Ticehurst.
Wow.
But you can't between the trees.
Beautiful day.
Okay, I'm coming back in now.
Going back in again now. Back into the pottery. And so when I first came to you, it was tiny. It was like the size of a tiny little shed.
Yes, and I had half of this space, and my husband had the other half, and now he hasn't. And I think we should leave that one there.
We're not going to talk about that because your poor husband has been gradually moved out, and in virtually
he has
parking area now.
Yeah, he has no space now.
Oh, so no space at all.
those little hearts, I've been putting them in little gift boxes.
We will put a link up so people can buy those, and I presume you post them.
I do. Yeah. I can post them, so you can post a bit of love to anyone you want around the world. That's
amazing.
Yeah.
So you were saying about lockdown that you're very sociable. So what else have you missed?
I think the pub.
Oh yeah.
We live. Burwash is a lovely little village, and it's got the most amazing community, and we have a very active pub life because that's where people go. So, and it's just yes, we've missed that, but everyone's kept in touch. We've got lots of WhatsApp groups. We've done lots of Zooming, and but for me, it's the sort of the contact with people through the lessons that I'm really missing because I actually made me realise that my social life had sort of decreased, not in a nasty way, but because I was getting so much sort of social contact with people through the lessons, I wasn't then sort of being driven to go out and do things and see people because I was seeing people all the time.
Yeah, so your social interaction was being sated by the the community that you've built up, the tribe that you've built up around you. So
and I've got some beautiful friends now as a result.
Yeah. Have you tried Zooming with your teaching groups? Have you tried?
I haven't. I have thought about it, but I don't think it's really for me, because as I was explaining earlier, when I have a group of 8 people, everyone's doing different things. I've got a number of people that are coming and picking up some clay from me, and some, I've got tubs I put the colours in and stuff, and so they're going home and doing their own work, and so they're ringing me up if they've got queries or they need help, but everybody does something different, and I don't know. It's kind of not for me. They're doing the Zoom lessons isn't for me. I'm enjoying doing this. But teaching online, I don't need to. And actually, it's time out of my working life when I could be making other things. And I'll wait until my lessons restart. I'll be happy with that.
Yeah, because I know Sophie Douglas has been running the art school lessons, and she was doing it every day. She was doing drawing online, and I know she found that, like you were just saying, it can sap your energy, and you can't do it a bit here and a bit there. And I think she said on Facebook here that that's what she realised with her teaching practice, is that it's better to do it in blocks and then give yourself a big time when you can actually do your own work. Yeah. And I think that, that resonates with all of us. It doesn't matter whether you're in the creative field or any field. If you keep having to dip in and out of things, it just stops you flow. It stops the flow, and actually it means you're less productive, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And so, I've kind of decided to use this time to develop my own skills and to sort of, like the dogs I've just shown you, that little Welsh Terrier. I'm so pleased with that, and that's probably the best dog I've ever made. And so I'm using the time for me. I don't get a lot of time for me, and this is quite special.
No, I agree. I think for those of us who were very busy, it's been a blessing. And I know for a lot of people it has not been a blessing at all. And I'm doing a lot of support with charities like Mind, and supporting the NHS with a lot of the mental health issues that are coming through there. But for some of us, and it's okay to say that, for some of us we were struggling with our mental health before this, and actually it's given us a bit of a moment to stop, think, regroup, and actually work out some solutions to things that we hadn't had time to actually work through. And
Absolutely.
So that's great. So what aspirations do you now have for the future?
Getting my lessons back. Having said that, I'm not going to be silly about that. I will have to wait until social distancing is lifted. So my best guess is that it's going to be the new year. My aspirations until that point are my biggest aspiration, actually, I've got a couple of wheels in here now. When I did evening classes in my 20s, I did some wheel work, and I've never really done any since. I can teach basic throwing on the wheel, and I'm happy to do that because, I can. But once I've got all my commissions out of the way, I'm going to spend some dedicated time having to go on the wheel and becoming a good thrower as well, because I've never really given myself time to do that. So I'm quite looking forward to that. I've also always had in my head, having said I don't want to make these sort of big pieces of art and things, I do. I've got this aspiration to make a monkey on a tree trunk or a stone plinth or something like that, because I went to Indonesia. I did a lot of backpacking when I was younger, and I went to Indonesia, and we went to this monkey forest up in a place called Ubud, which is in the middle of Bali. And the most beautiful monkeys. And I drew a few. I've been doing a bit of drawing as well, but I've drawn a few. And I just think I want to give myself some time to make one out of clay. And then I want it to be a signature piece. And then I'm going to go through the alphabet, and every letter of the alphabet, I'm going to make an animal on a plinth. We talked about that before, Leslie. I've never actually got around to doing it, but now is the time.
I think you're right. Now is the time. So what are you going to do? How are you going to incentivize yourself? Because you, like me, we have these amazing ideas, and then we procrastinate, and then we get distracted by other things. So how are you going? So how are you going to keep yourself on track? Because A to Z is quite a long journey.
It is. It doesn't matter. It can take me the rest of my life. That's fine.
Starting with M. Are you going to just start halfway through the alphabet?
No. I'm going to start with an aardvark.
Start with an
or armadillo, or one of the two.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
That would be amazing in clay, wouldn't it? An armadillo. Oh,
absolutely.
I love the idea of that.
Exactly.
So how are you going to stop yourself procrastinating, and how are you going to reward yourself when you've achieved it?
Well, my reward is going to be when I start it, actually, because I've got a number of commissions. I've got a list on my wall of some stuff, in fairness and honesty, that's been sitting around for a little while because of doing the lessons. I've not had time to do properly. So I've literally got 2 things on that list left to do. And then that is my time. And so it's taken me probably 8 weeks of lockdown to sort out the studio with everybody's work, and that's the priority, because I didn't want people to be let down and and lose their work along the way. I wanted to make a load of flowers, because then I don't have to worry about that when the pubs reopen. They're done. I've got the commissions that you've seen, and now I'm getting through that. Then I can just come down the studio, and it will be my space to do whatever I want until the next commission comes in.
So you just need to work out where your tripwires are, then, don't you?
Exactly.
There are the tripwires that are going to stop you doing that, because that's what we all have to understand about ourselves, isn't it? It's like, what's the thing that might trip me up from that? I know I had one on my list, was to get the first online course written, which I've done, the Back to Basics one. So I've done that, and then I want to finish off the Pure Book for Life with all. I keep being tripped up with that. And obviously on my list as well is get your accounts done early this year, Leslie.
Oh, I've submitted my accounts already, I'll have you know.
Get your accounts done early.
And actually that's one of the things that was you said earlier about it's never too late to start and to change. I was in my 50s. I was only in my 50s. I was 52, 53 when I started teaching. But I've got a lot of business experience that I developed between from when I started work till that point, and actually all that experience helps as well. I used to do a lot of public speaking, confidence in public speaking, doing my accounts and having my admin system set up, all of that sort of stuff. All of my experiences have all helped to get me where I am now. And I think that's really important as well. It's not just about the sort of the artistic side and the creative side. It's the ability to run a business. I can write adverts. I can do social media. I can use computers, and it all builds up to this big picture of who I am now, and I am doing something now that I love.
We've got all these hidden skills, haven't we? We go, I can't do that. And actually, when you look at it, if you do a skills cloud, and I often say to people, why don't you do a skills cloud and work out where you've got
exactly.
It falls into that category of we've lived life, so you've got skills.
Absolutely.
You've had a bank account and you've had to work out, you've got an income and you've got outgoings, and you've got to work out how much you've got left to live on. You can do accounts. It's not
absolutely
science.
Yeah.
You don't need a scary accountant. I mean, I use an accountant now because I have several sets of accounts, and also, it's a limited company, so therefore, it's good to have an accountant, validate the audit and audit your accounts. Well, you have to. You have no choice. But that said, you can actually get it going yourself, and we have all these skills in life to help us do all of that stuff. So on my list, it keeps coming to the top. Is get the accounts done early, Leslie. Don't leave it till the 20th of December.
Well, I'm just saying again, I have done mine for this last year just gone. So
well done. It just I will take that as an incentive to get myself going and get that done. So it's just working out what your tripwires are.
Well, my tripwires were all my admin, but actually I've got a list of stuff that I was doing, and my admin side, I'm pretty much there now. So the house has never been as organised in terms of the filing and my account's been done, all this sort of stuff. So actually, when I do have time to work, I can make things. And you said about the tripwires. I don't mind what I'm doing. I don't mind whether it's commissions, whether I'm making flowers. I just want to make things. That's what I love. And every time I make something, they come out better. Even the flowers. Every time I make a flower, the next one's better than the last one. And the more I do, the more I adapt, the more I change my processes, the faster it becomes making those flowers, and the better they become. And as long as I'm making something, I don't mind.
I think that's interesting, isn't it? It's like they say, 10,000 hours, and you have to we are just practicing. And when we say it's about your practice, That's what it is. You are practicing.
Everything is a practice.
We're all practicing. So we're so afraid of failure in our culture. But actually, if we don't start and we don't practice every day and keep going and practicing, then we're never going to be happy and achieve that, wonderful point where you think, okay, I'm actually becoming quite good at this now. So you have to do it scared.
Yes, and I think actually it's taken me this long to get to that point where I think, actually, do you know what? I am all right at this.
I'm getting all right at this now.
Yeah. And as I say, those like that dog and the ram that I've just made, I look at them now, I'm sitting there looking at them, and I'm not looking at them thinking, oh God, I should have done that differently. I'm looking at it thinking, wow, I like that.
Yeah. I know.
That's taken me a long time to get there.
Yeah, it's having self-respect. I think we talked about that earlier on the meditation, about having self-respect. But yeah, being prepared to just keep going and give it a go, and keep stretching going into your stretch zone and stretching it a bit more. And eventually those things in the stretch come into the comfort zone, and then that gives you a bit more capacity.
Yeah.
So that's why I said to you, what are your aspirations now? Because you've stretched so much.
Yeah. Oh God, the development over the last few years has just been phenomenal in so many ways. You have
grown. I mean, I'm, just this conversation I'm having with you now. I remember the early conversations of, Leslie, I want to do this. How do I go about that?
Where do I start? Yeah.
We'll just start. So we just start. Let's get going, and we'll just give it a go, and we'll just get on with it. And you have to take that leap of faith, don't you? You have to be brave and take the leap of faith. And look at you now.
I've never been happier. I love what I do, and I live in a beautiful place. I've got a beautiful husband, and I've got a beautiful life. I'm just so lucky. And we've created it.
You've made your own luck. You've made your own luck because you've been dedicated and you've been kind and generous with your time. You were involved in the Vicky, the sculpture, weren't you?
The Rudyard Kipling, yes.
Tell us a bit about the Rudyard Kipling sculpture that Vicky Atkinson designed.
Oh, that was just fantastic. We had Burwash is a beautiful village, and when we first moved here, there was about 10, 11 shops, and they've gradually closed down. We've got 2 pubs now, and we've got a Londis stores and butchers, and kind of pretty much it. On a flower shop and hairdressers. But when we first arrived, we've got Bateman's, which is Rudyard Kipling's old house in Burwash, and people used to come by coach, and they used to park up in our car park, use the public toilets, and then go and use all the tea shops. There used to be about 6 tea shops. And then they'd go down to Bateman's and have a wander around, and then they'd go off home again. Bateman's, rightly so, and developed as well. And they opened their own tea shop down there, and so the coaches used to go down there. People come down, wander around Bateman's, go to the tea shop, and just drive away again. Don't even go through the high street. So what my husband's was a parish councillor, and we're trying to regenerate the high street a bit and just encourage people in. And so one of the things that he had an idea to do was to commission someone to make a statue of Rudyard Kipling that would sit in the high street. And the obvious person to do it was Vicky, who not only is a friend of ours, but obviously is a fantastic sculptor, but also she lives in Burwash. And so, we couldn't ask anybody else. And we love her work. We've got a lot of her work in our house as well, because we just love what she does. And so it was a big thing for her, because it was a sort of literally a life-size statue, and she did a huge. I learned from that as well. She did a huge amount of work just studying him, and shoe size, head size, you name it. She just worked it all out, and she just did the most amazing statue of Rudyard Kipling sitting down. I've got excuse me, I've got a postcard of his head just sitting on my notice board. If you can see, look at that.
And it was amazing. And I love the fact that it's sitting on a bench, because that means that people can sit next to it.
You can indeed,
and have their photograph taken with Rudyard Kipling.
Yeah.
And so, do you think it's had an impact on the tourism?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, you don't go many days without driving past or walking past, and there's somebody sitting on the bench having their photo taken.
Oh, wow. That's so encouraging, isn't it? It just goes to show that people... And these things resonate with people, and it attracts in. And we're all doing that. We in Battle, we've had the same kind of thing with the Abbey, that people will just go straight into the Abbey. There's the tea shop, there's the shop, and the high street itself, which is a beautiful heritage high street. it dates to the same time as the Abbey being built was just being, ignored.
Absolutely.
Shops were closing. So we've had to do quite a lot of work on encouraging people. We had a council meeting last night talking about taking the speed down to 20 miles an hour, and I really hope that happens very soon.
Battle needs that so much.
Yes, I don't know about Burwash.
No, we're doing the similar sort of thing, actually, funnily enough, but yeah, having 20's plenty.
20's plenty, and encouraging people to walk and cycle as much.
And one of the things we've found with lockdown is there's far fewer cars on the roads, and so the cars that are coming through the village are really speeding.
Yes,
we're having
much the same problem here, especially because obviously Battle's up on the top of a ridge. As they come down Marley Lane or they come down off the ridge, oh my goodness, it has been the speeding traffic has been a bit of a problem. So we're all, I think lockdown has been great for that, that it's really engaged people with their community, and they've gone out walking and cycling, and hopefully we are hoping as a parish council to have a big event at some point next year, when social distancing is passed. We were planning to have a street party for VE Day, and obviously that hasn't happened, so the idea is that we'll do something significant as soon as is possible. But the idea of putting integrating art into the community. And I know when I was doing the Heritage Trails, and we've integrated stone sculpture by Gavin into the High Street in Battle and around, we had that conversation, didn't we, of how important it is to integrate things that have been made out of relevant local materials that are resonating with the local community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also things like introducing a tea shop, because we haven't got any tea shops in the high street now, so we're putting this community tea shop in, and hopefully it will all happen. When it'll happen, I'm not sure now. But we want to encourage people like myself, local artists, to put stuff in so we can sell some bits and pieces out the tea shop. But the funding is through a community interest company, and actually the tea shop is just one project, and we're seeing that as an opportunity then to start raising money for another project. And it could be an art trail, could be it could be providing a Christmas dinner for the sort of elderly in the village, or sort of providing funding for that. But it's going to be a community fund that will help support the village and help support the high street. That's the plan. Or the whole parish, actually. But this tea shop is pretty.
Isn't that amazing that you've got no tea shops left?
I know.
Many tea
it's
shops.
So sad.
I'm just going to hold for a moment. Jamie, could you pull the curtain, please? Thank you.
Hello, Jamie.
Jamie's just come in, IT, as you can see. And I went into my ghost mode. So as soon as the light shines on me, I'm virtually transparent.
See-through.
I'm virtually transparent most of the time, but with sun, I go completely see-through. I have to be in a darkened room. We won't talk about witches, but it has been said.
No. Have you been wearing makeup while you've been on lockdown?
No, not at all.
No, nor have I. Well, I did put a bit of eyeliner on today because I thought,
Did you?
Oh my God, first time in 8 weeks.
No, I just thought, what's the point? I'm fairly pale anyway. Look, and I don't think makeup. I did say,
I brushed my hair.
should get hair and makeup done, but it's pointless, really. So no. On, as you saw, I posted that picture on Saturday of me in a ball gown.
Oh yes, you're gorgeous.
I was challenged to dress up in a ball gown, and even then, I put the ball gown on. I forgot to put on any makeup. I've forgotten about makeup. That's a thing. That's a thing from my past life.
Yeah, so, exactly.
This is you're getting it. This is it. I
wonder how many people will go back and start going back to as they were and wearing makeup and.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Today, I've got, what have I got on today? So I've got pink trousers on today, but generally I've been in black. And when I look back on all of these broadcasts, I was like, oh, Leslie, you really need to change up the colour there a bit. It's either black or grey. Black, grey or white.
I want to tell you, I've got my pyjamas on the bottom half. I haven't.
No, I know. And that's the thing. It's like you're on screen and you think, oh, actually, I should have probably thought about that. I don't really like having my photograph taken. So we've got.
No, I hate it. You're lucky you got me to do this. Actually, I hate cameras.
So Fran is asking if we can see some more of your pottery. So maybe if you can show us some in a bit more close-up detail, bring some in front of the maybe the dog that you're going to fire Raku. That would be good.
Oh, hang on. Well, this is the other one.
I know, Edith, that we have to, a bit of lippy might be good. I'll try that tomorrow. Big earrings. I do the big earrings, yeah. Look at him.
Mwah.
Ah, look at him. Scrumptious.
Okay, that's the Welsh Terrier. So
what stage is he in?
So that's just dry clay at the moment. So if I put that in a bucket of water, that would just disintegrate back into a puddle of mud.
Right.
The big thing for this one was getting the nose right, because of course they've got very flat noses and without much of a sort of that dip between the forehead and the eye, where the eyes go down. And it took me a little while to get that comfortable and that right. And she's just got a beautiful smile. She's actually a girl. She's called Ruby.
Oh, I remember when I was doing my crazy pottery with you, and I really struggled with the eyes. And then Charlie came and did his elephant, do you remember? And got the eyes like straight away. I was like, oh,
I've got a Mary Clarke technique for eyes, and
Mary Clarke technique.
I actually make eyeballs, and so she's looking at I actually make eyeballs or eye sockets and eyeballs, and then do the eyelids and the underneath, like the bit where you put your eyeliner when we did in the old days.
Brandy's asking, is it hollow?
Yes, it is hollow.
You want to talk about how it starts life?
Yep, everything I make is hollow. If you're making anything with clay, anything more than about an inch thick won't dry out. So anything like that would be hollow. And what I do, I don't use any molds. I roll clay out into sausages, and I just join them together and build it up. So it's so
there's no pinch pots involved in that one then?
No, it's a mixture of processes. I can use I use a pinch pot to start off the base, which a pinch pot, you just have a ball of clay in your hand and you can make it into a bowl, and then I build up with the coils. And so it's a real mixture of styles that I use when I do something like that. The ram, for example, the body is 2 pinch pots joined together to create the body. He's coming over now. Coming
over into scene.
Okay, so the body is 2 pinch pots which are joined together, and then I make the legs separately, and then I cut a hole in the body and build up the neck and the head, and all of these extra bits are all added on. The tail, I love the bottoms. I'm particularly keen on the bottoms. But
I love the texture on that. So very like Grayson Perry. That Grayson Perry on his art school is doing quite a lot of pottery, and his wife is doing quite pottery as well, and I think that's been fascinating to see how he does. He did a big pot that he did coils. Did you see? Exactly the same style, but just on a smaller scale. Yeah, he is very handsome, Peter. I agree. And he's gonna. What colour is he going to be? This one is going to be a Jacob ram. Oh, a Jacob. So that's brown. Yeah. Well, he'll be cream and brown. Yeah, cream and brown. So you get the dotted effect. And I've made it look like I'm a farmer and I know all about animals now, and I completely don't. Can you imagine me as a farmer? No. So they do farming in Mayfair, because if they do, then I'll be all right. But it's not going to be me, is it? But I do know about Jacob's lambs because my other friend Mary, has. She has, hasn't she? She has Jacob lambs. Yeah. And the plates So they're a different process altogether, aren't they? Yeah. These are coming through. Now, this is something that I love doing. So I'm just going to move this ram out of the way. Otherwise, because they're very fragile at this stage. And that is going to be for somebody. So not to damage that. Right. Okay. So the plates are... We'll come on to the kiln, Fran, in a minute. That's one of the plates. So basically, these are all stoneware fired, which means they're fired up to a really high temperature. I fire them to 1220, which means they're all they can all go through the dishwasher. I roll out clay like rolling out pastry, and then form the shape. I cut these bits freehand, and I add as a separate bit of clay the foot ring. But what I really love doing, and I do with a lot of my stuff, as you'll see on all of these, is I use old vintage lace. Yeah. And I love the lace that creates that pattern. And I have to say, I love these colours on these. You use a former for that. So do you have a template former? Yeah, it's not the pattern. The former is just a round. It's just a round block of wood that I put the clay over. Yeah, absolutely. It's a bit like a baking tin. It's like press it into a baking tin and you get a mould, don't you? And then you kind of it's the other way round. So it's a solid bit of wood and you lay the clay over it. Yeah. Yeah. So I just love the fact that you can stack them all together and you just get this really wonderful flower-like effect. I think they're just gorgeous. I love the colours as well. Yeah. Yeah. And I've been playing around with colours and they're
I've been making loads of test tiles over the last few weeks, and and I'm very taken with those.
We'll put the link on, so if you want to go and buy some of Mary's pieces, you can after. Put it on
And I can make them to order as well. I don't make a load of stuff and have a load of stock. That's not my style. I tend to make to order, especially with the dogs and stuff. Obviously, I make to order, but and I'm really enjoying doing the plates. This is the thing about not being stuck around doing a particular thing. I just enjoy making different things. It's loving it.
The kiln used to be in the end of that room that you're in now, didn't it? But now it's in another one of Steve's sheds.
It's in one of Steve's sheds. I've actually got two. Well, I've got 3 kilns.
Wow.
I've got a raku kiln, which is where you get the crackle glazes. So that just it lives in the shed, but I actually fire that outside. And I do raku days courses as well, which is always good fun. So I've got the raku kiln. I've got 2 electric kilns. I've got my original first little kiln that I've got, which is not that big, but it's great for doing sort of smaller pieces. And then when I started the lessons, I bought myself a big Rhoda kiln, and they all fire up to stoneware temperatures, and they're all round top loaders.
So stoneware is the temperature you need to be able to keep things outside.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and they're stronger. They're less porous, and the clay becomes stronger the higher that you fire it.
Yeah,
and actually, this clay that you can't really see on these, but this clay comes out quite grey when it's fired. Hence the fact the colours from the glaze come out, and you get a bit of a speckle in it, and I love that.
So can you show us, because we didn't quite get a look at the wheels, because they're in your studio.
Yeah, they are.
And you've done some school classes, haven't you, there as well?
I have, yeah. I've got 2. These are my 2 wheels there.
Look, that's what a wheel looks like. And normally the seat wouldn't be on the top there. You'd normally be sitting on that.
That's it. It's sitting on there so I don't trip over it every time I walk past.
So you've done some school groups as well. You've had school groups coming to the studio and doing pottery.
I've had lots of parties, actually. I do one-off parties as well as the sort of like the 6 weekly lessons. I do. I've had the local school have brought their kids down here because they wanted to make a Noah's Ark, so they all came down and made some, or a load of them came down and made some animals. I actually did an exercise about 4 years ago when I went to the school and I made some tiles, and then I got the kids to all think about. I went to every single class in the school. They had to think about what they liked about Burwash and draw it on a 6-inch square, and then draw it again on the tile and use underglazes, and that was great. And we put that up, and that's actually in the high street now. So,
wow. Isn't that lovely? Because when I did the Heritage Trails project, so it's about 5 years ago now, we did some films, and one of the girls that did this from Robertsbridge Community College came on just a couple of weeks ago and said, that was me 5 years ago. I can't believe that was me 5 years ago. They love it. It really gives them a bond to their community, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, no, it was a really nice thing to do. And when we first did it, it was there's 6 classes in the school. It was the top 3 classes that did it, and then the bottom. I'm still here. My battery just came up and said it was a bit low, so that's why I'm still.
Mine has died.
It might die at some point, but it's not dying yet.
Well, we're nearly done. So we're nearly finishing here today, folks, because we're coming up to 2:00, and it's been absolutely wonderful chatting with you. I've really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed having a little moment back in the studio with you. Around, and I love the work that you're doing. Love the plates, and I'm really happy that you're happy. And it's nice to reflect on that journey, the journey that I've been on with you, to now see where you are today and see where everything's going. It's been a real privilege for me.
It has been amazing
to be able to reflect on that journey with you. And we've now got this, recorded forever. So,
yes.
So in maybe in another 3 or 4 years' time, we'll do it again and see where you are then, because the travel, the growth that you've had from 3-4 years ago when I first knew you to now is just amazing, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
So proud of what you're doing, and that, as Peter said, there's it's finding your natural, it's finding our thing, isn't it? It's finding our groove, and you found your thing, and now you're just refining it.
Yeah, and I think the important message, if I was going to have a message about anything, is actually just to really reflect on what you want, because that's what I did. And as following on from some of our conversations in the pottery, actually, it just really made me think about what it is I actually wanted to do, and it was almost a realization. I thought, actually, do you know what? I don't want to go and do all these art fairs and become famous. I'm actually very comfortable where I am, and all the time I'm developing, then that's fine. And to actually recognise that where that fineness is, I think that's really important.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really important message, is to accept ourselves for ourselves and be happy to be our own soul, not try and be something that we're not. Just don't try to be fake and do something that makes you miserable, because you know, this is it. This is our one life.
Yeah, I don't have to be Grayson Perry. I don't have to be anything other than me doing what I'm doing.
I don't have to be Holly Willoughby.
Oh, no, that'd be quite nice.
I like her hair. I like a makeup artist.
I do like some of Grayson Perry's dresses, in fairness. Well,
I think Grayson Perry is just that I have been charmed by the man watching him.
I've met him.
Have you?
He's just as charming in real life.
I am thinking about maybe contacting him, see whether he'll come on to do one of these lives with me. And
make sure he watches this one first.
Yeah, I'll send him this one and say, would you like to come on? But I am charmed by the man because he's got just such a gentle grace about him.
He lives locally, you know that, don't you?
He's just got such a. I love his wife as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, and they've got a beautiful daughter. Yeah, they live in Eastbourne, I think.
Oh, do they? Oh, okay. Well, then I stand a chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Leave it with me, people. You know I can be very persuasive.
Oh, yeah.
Can be very persuasive. All right. Thank you, my love. It's been absolutely brilliant. Absolutely enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, it's gone so quickly.
I know, an hour goes very quickly, but I think it's important not to do more than an hour. Keep everybody wanting a bit more.
Yeah, they will go out in the sunshine now. Some lovely comments on here. I've got to put my glasses on and read them.
Yeah, really, really. So saying how talented you are.
Oh, thank you, everybody.
And you ask him to dress up, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm just reading that one. Yeah.
In fact, I wouldn't even ask. I would insist, Fran, that I just love that. I love his persona, his two personas, and I just thought, his name Grayson is just perfect. He's such a gracious.
Yeah.
Got such a charming, gracious, gentle personality. I love it when he talks to people and he invites them into the art show that he's going to have. And he doesn't say, he said, would you, I'd like to invite you. He's very, democratic.
Very much so, yeah.
And that for me was very much, I was really drawn to that side of his personality. He's not like, oh, I am Grayson Perry, so you would want to do it. It's very much, I would like you to do it. Would you like to do it? Yeah. And so no. We'll see. I can but ask.
That's your challenge.
That's my challenge. I can but ask. Well, thank you so much. It's been an absolute privilege, and
mine.
I can't wait to get back in the pottery, whether it's 6 months, 8 months, a year, whatever it is. I definitely need to get that back in my life.
Well, I'll definitely be here whenever I can open. I will be here.
I know. And hopefully you're going to get involved in the Art 360 project.
Yeah, very much so. Yes.
That'll be very similar to what we're doing here. So it'll be showing a little film of your studio, and then I'll do an interview, and that'll take place in September. So anyone who's interested in it, go onto the website, the Pure Arts Group website, look at the Art 360 and apply. And then you might get the opportunity to do what Mary's done today. And it's lovely, isn't it, Mary? It wasn't frightening.
It's great fun. No, not at all. Not at all.
It's good.
Can I give a plug for my website?
Go for your website. I shall put it down here in the comments. So what is it?
burwashpotter.co.uk.
Burwash.
And I'm on Facebook and Instagram as @BurwashPotter.
There you are. It's down there.
Lovely, thank you.
And I'll also put it up. So I always do some promoting of obviously these lives afterwards. So I'll put it up in the comments afterwards. And anyone who was watching last week with Maxine Laceby, she promised us a code. All you have to do is when you go in onto the Absolute Collagen site, if you put the gift bundle, I think it's called. It's the bundle with the eye mask and everything in. If you put that in, it's £11.99. And if you put MAX free, MAX free in the code, you'll get it for free. Shh. I told you that. So you'll get it for free. So you just go on the website and add the bundle to your basket, and then as you check out, put in MAX free in the code, and you'll get it for free. And it's a lovely little gift. Even if you don't want it for yourself, it's a lovely gift. It's a room spray and an eye mask and what have you. So yeah, and I will put up some information about where you can commission Mary and where you can buy
please.
Mary's work. And
Thank you
so much.
Pleasure.
And I will speak to you very soon.
That would be lovely.
You take
Thanks,
care. Have a
thanks
good
for listening, everybody.
Thank you everyone for listening, and we'll see you all again. Well, I'll see you tomorrow on the live meditations at noon, but then we'll see you all again next week. Next week, I have the wonderful Kathy McKinnon of Wise Bodies joining me. She's the associate editor of O Magazine. Really worth a read. So she's coming on next week to have a chat, and she's a fellow life coach, so I'm sure we'll have a very good and interesting chat about life.
So look forward to it.
Bye for now.
Thank you.